Louisiana Democrat Chasity Martinez soundly defeated her Republican rival in a special election Saturday for a state House seat. In a district President Trump won by 13 points in 2024. Since President Trump took office in his second term, Democrats have flipped 26 state legislative seats.
After comfortably carrying a Louisiana district by more than a dozen points in the 2024 election, this weekend it was a shock to the system for the GOP. In that same district, things changed. See, in Louisiana's House District 60, Democrat Chasity Verret Martinez won about 62% of the vote to her Republican opponent's 38%, a 24-point margin in a special election that drew national attention.
Growing up in Bayou Sorrel instilled in me the values of faith and family that I've come to live by. And my papa, Donnelly Pierce, inspired me to give back more than I receive. Whether it's starting a community pantry, working in the DA's office as a victims assistant coordinator, or volunteering with the ARC Iberville, I'm focused on addressing local issues that affect our families. Now, I'm running for state representative to continue building a stronger community for all of us.
So right, all politics is local, and usually in these midterms, these are early indicators of where the trajectory will go in this cycle. And as you pointed out, Lindsay, this district in Louisiana, this is a district that Trump won by 13 points in 2024, but he also won in the two previous presidential cycles. And while it has gone to Democrats in state elections, Republicans thought it was going to be a prime pickup opportunity, but Democrats didn't just hold it, they won it by a wide margin.
That same district voted for Donald Trump by roughly 13 points in 2024. Martinez reportedly raised and spent less than her opponent also, yet still delivered a blowout victory. And by the way, it's part of a broader pattern that we are seeing here across the country. I mean, just back in January, Democrats also flipped a seat in Texas, an area that Trump won overwhelmingly in 2024.
Looking at Texas, though, I mean, that should scare Republicans. That was the point that Ron DeSantis made in a post. You know, that seat, that state Senate seat, flipped. It was a district that the president won by 17 points, and the Republican had outspent the Democrat there 20-1. And still, you know, the Democrat took that seat. Ron DeSantis wrote, special elections are quirky, not necessarily projectable regarding a general election. That said, a swing of this magnitude is not something that can be dismissed. Republicans should be clear-eyed about the political environment heading into the midterms.
So this 30-point flip should really scare Republicans and really start to take notice here that Democrats are not, it's not just Democrats voting for these people, it's independents and Republicans.
Democrat Taylor Remitt not only won the seat that Republicans once held, but did so in a district that President Donald Trump carried by 17 points in 2024. In the January runoff, Remitt defeated the Trump-backed Republican by roughly 14 points, representing another massive swing away from GOP dominance in part of the state that hadn't elected a Democrat in decades. And political analysts from across the spectrum described that result and the one in Louisiana as a major wake-up call for Republicans ahead of the 2026 midterms.
Harold, Ron DeSantis is right to say, hey, special elections can be quirky, but this ain't no quirk.
Congressman Pete Sessions from Texas basically told me, he said, no Democrat should ever win in North Texas like this. Although he also said, there was an ice storm, 31 points. That's not an ice storm.
No, that ain't no ice storm. If you ignore this, you're going to ice yourself out of a majority come the midterms.
All right, when we look at these special elections, and this is something you and I talk about a lot and look at very closely in between the federal elections, what can they tell us?
Okay, so, you see this 31-point shift to the left, right? If this were just one election, that would be one thing. But it's the slew of special elections that together paint a picture, and it's a picture that Democrats should love and a picture that Republicans should be really worried about. Because what are we talking about here? Okay, the average 2025, 26 special election, Democrats are doing, get this, 12 points better.
Because the harsh reality the GOP are facing is that Trump's political brand and his policy positions, especially on issues like immigration and economic leadership, they are costing the party ground in even once safe territory.
Okay, now this. A new poll shows 59% of voters disapprove of President Trump's handling of the economy. That's his worst rating on the economy since he took office. That was back in 2017. Griff Jenkins joining us this morning. Why are you laughing?
Well, because listen, that's a terrible number, Stu.
So no, this Louisiana result isn't just a local blip. It's part of a regional and national shift, one where red seats are becoming more competitive, one where Republican dominance is eroding. And that's without even talking about the tougher battleground areas where Republicans already have narrower margins. And oh yeah, it's getting worse for the president. According to analysis from CNN's Harry Enton, the group of Trump's base that has been the complete foundation of his political strength, particularly non-college educated, older white working class voters, they're shrinking sharply in enthusiasm and support.
If you know anything about Donald Trump, you know that he built his 2 presidential victories on winning voters without a college degree, while Donald Trump's base with non-college voters is absolutely collapsing. What are we talking about here? Well, why don't we just take a look? Voters without a college degree on Donald Trump. Look at this. Back in 2024, he won those voters over Kamala Harris by 14 points. You come over to this side of the screen. What's his net approval rating with him? He is underwater by 9 points. That's a 23-point switcheroo with his base of non-college voters. He is absolutely collapsing with the group of voters that helped put him into the White House, Kate.
Okay, so how are these non-college voters feeling about 2026?
Okay, so you see this drop of 23 points, right? From plus 14 Trump to now he's underwater by 9 points. How is that impacting their views on how they're going to vote for Congress? Well, you see a similar story going on here, right? Take a look. In the 2024 election, Republicans won those voters, those non-college voters, by 13 points. Now they're just ahead by just 1, 2, 3, 4 points. When you can count it on one hand, you know that you're in trouble if you're Donald John Trump and the Republican Party, in this case, the Republican Party, when it comes to the voters in Congress. And of course, a 4-point lead among non-college voters is not anywhere close to being good enough because Democrats are dominating among voters with a college degree, up by 20 points. At this point, the Democratic base with college voters is rising and the Republican base with non-college voters is collapsing.
I mean, you've heard Trump's messaging, right? That his base never leaves him and he holds the silent majority. Well, they're not exactly silent anymore and they're voicing their dissatisfaction with him.
Oh, my word. I am a registered Republican. My dad was the president of American Pipeliners Association, so I came by it rather naturally. Voted for the president, supported him. But I really want to apologize. I mean, I'm looking at this awful picture of the Obamas. What an embarrassment to our country. All this man does is tell lies. He is not worthy of the presidency. He takes bribes blatantly, and now he's being a racist blatantly. They were supposed to deport the dangerous criminals. They were not supposed to go after small children, storm schools, bring terror upon, the little kids and the women and children, not just the immigrants in the school. All the children are scared. This is not a decent man. This is not an honest man. He openly takes bribes. He's pathetic as a president, and I just want to apologize to everybody in the country for supporting this rotten man.
John, did you vote for him in all 3 elections?
I did. I was sucked into the stupidity of creating jobs, and there are no more jobs in New Mexico. Things are worse than they were before. You cannot find a primary care physician. Our governor just passed some laws to try to help. If you are a young physician, we want you in New Mexico. Come here. There's a great need for you.
All right.
Listen, if those voters are no longer reliably behind the president, then every other part of his strategy, turnout, swing voters, midterm margins, they become so much harder to secure, meaning that, overall, he's in deep shape.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.